Hello, my name is Asuma and welcome to Minecraft Myth Busting. In this show we take rumours about the game and put them to the test to find out what's actually true and what's not. If you have any myth you want to see busted, just leave a comment on this video and I'll add it to my list. This episode we are going to be taking a look at what types of damage the player can take when they're in a bed. This is based on a request in a comment on a previous video asking if it was true that the player can't take any damage from lava when they're lying in a bed, and I can tell you now that this is true. The player won't take any damage, and I've set up this little testing area to show you what types of damage the player can take when they are in a bed. So this first test is lava, and we already know that the player isn't going to take any damage, and unfortunately it's kind of difficult to show you because you can see here that the lava completely surrounds the player. So what I've done is I've skipped ahead here, and our player is going to get out of the bed and then they're going to die from the damage from the lava. So our second test is the same thing again, except this time we're using water. It completely surrounds the player, and I've skipped ahead here because after a while they take suffocation damage after the air meter has gone all the way down, which is different behaviour from the lava. They can actually take damage from it, which is really strange. This next test is with the anvil, gravel and sand. So we're testing all the types of gravity blocks here. You can see that gravel has no effect on the player whatsoever, it just lands on the bed, and the same thing happens with sand, which is what you would expect, but with the anvil we get a slightly different result here. You can see that the player takes damage. So this next test is now with pistons. We're going to extend this one here, that's directly above where the bed is, and then when we extend it down it's going to push into where the player is, and you notice there that the player is standing inside the block but not taking any damage. So this next test we are going to be doing splash potions to see what effect they have on the player when they're in the bed. We're going to start off with positive effect potions like health and regeneration, speed, strength and fire resistance. And you can see that they don't cause the player to leave the bed at all. These next two potions are neutral ones like night vision and invisibility. And there you can see we're now both invisible, so our test subject is going to have to drink a bucket of milk. The next potions that we're going to be testing are negative effects, that's slowness, and the other one is weakness. And you can see that both of these don't cause the player to leave the bed. So next up is poison, and you can see there that it causes the player to leave the bed, so he's going to have to drink some milk. And if we do the same test again, this time we're going to leave the player with the poison effect, so when he gets back into the bed, as soon as he takes damage from the poison, he's going to get out of the bed again. And last of all, we're going to test instant damage to see what that does, and of course with a little bit of latency from the server there, our player is ejected from the bed. So this next test is weapons. We've got a flint and steel, a sword, and you can see that the player can't hit the player in the bed. It's going to interact with the bed and tell the player that it's occupied, and even with a flint and steel you can't do anything at all. And now we have a fishing rod, and this is where things get a little bit strange. Unfortunately I couldn't recreate the testing that I'd done prior to making this video. If you cast the fishing rod from a distance, you're not actually clicking on the bed, so you can cast the bob onto the player, and sometimes when you leave it cast for a long time the player will actually get out of the bed. Unfortunately we couldn't recreate that in this video, and here is an example of me trying to hit the player from a different angle. You see we're not hitting the hitbox of the bed, we're just hitting the player above it, and we can't actually hit them. So this next test is with arrows. We're just seeing if the arrow will eject the player from the bed, which it does. And here's something interesting: when the player gets back into the bed you can see the arrow that had already hit the bed caused him to get back out again. Now sometimes you'll do the same thing, you'll get into a bed that has an arrow on it and you'll actually pick that up in your inventory, so that's another strange effect of the bed. And last of all we have the test with TNT. The TNT blast radius is one block above where the bed is, but when the player gets into the bed and we set off this TNT here, you're going to see that it's going to take some damage despite not blowing up the bed, which is very strange behaviour. And of course TNT right next to the bed is going to hurt the player and also blow up the bed. So what have we learnt from all this testing? Well, nothing too conclusive. We've learnt that, like a lot of things in Minecraft, the beds are very buggy. You can't take damage from lava, but you can from water, and Saigo Orion has had a look into the code for that and believes that it's quite likely that not taking damage from lava is actually a bug. But as well as that, we've also seen some strange behaviour, like you can be inside a block without taking suffocation damage if you were inside a bed when that block was pushed into it. And also the TNT as well. The TNT blast radius ends directly above where the player is inside the bed, and yet they can still take damage from it. So all in all, it's been an interesting episode of myth busting. It's not really been about busting a particular myth. We found out that it is true that you can't take damage from lava, although it's quite likely that it is a bug. So anyway, if you've enjoyed this episode, please do give it a like and help support the series. If you have any myths you want to see busted, just leave a comment in the comment box. So thank you for watching, and I will catch you next time.